pump date. So I told you guys that I will be coming back with another update. I'm gonna pump if you guys don't mind, and I'll just kind of break down the little routine that I've gotten together that kind of works for me. The last video you guys saw, I believe I was just working on getting into the first hormone therapy, which was like a birth control. That is the primary hormone that I was taking. I was on that for about 6 weeks. I am now 2.5 weeks into the secondary hormone. So I did stop the birth control. And just to break down that process a little bit more again, you take the birth control, tricks your body into thinking you're pregnant. You add the secondary hormone with the birth control. And it did say in my protocol that if I started to see any changes in my breast or feeling like full or anything like that, that I should stop the birth control. So at about week 5, I was feeling the fullness. I had about a double extra bounce when I walked. When I lift them up, they feel very much like there's milk inside of them. So I went ahead and just kind of gauged that myself, and I did stop the birth control and proceed to take the secondary hormone. Like I said, I'm 2 weeks into that hormone, and not for the first time, I would say the first week that I was on the hormone, I did start to see a little bit of milk rising to the top. It was more harder milk. I did have to like squeeze that out with my hand expression, and it was coming out rather hard. Week 2, and I'm just going to get this set up. So I basically, pumping without any like lubricant, like dry skin, does not feel good to me. Nobody told me to do this, but I use coconut oil just to kind of lubricate my nipple as I'm pumping, because that can get a little bit sore. I mean, even on my least sore day, because your boobs, so you are going to have some tenderness the entire process. Getting on the hormones, you're going to have tenderness. Starting to pump, you're going to have some tenderness. That's just your boobs getting adjusted to being messed with all the time, being pulled on all the time, being lubricated all the time. This is a pretty high functioning breast pump that I have. So I started off at a very low speed, and there are different like cycles and pulsations on here. So I started off at 54, which is the lowest it can go, and then there's a vacuum, and you can put the vacuum between 1 and I believe 5. And 5 is like the highest of the vacuum that you can get. As you see, it's pumping a little bit more harder. Doesn't pump as hard on 4, 3. But so now that I'm into week 2, I use the expression, which is not, the other cycles are more like massaging the nipple, but this is actually what I would use to try to get the milk out. So as you see, that pumps way harder, way faster. And that's why I lubricate my nipples, because when you put the pump on there, if you have it at a low enough speed, it won't hurt. It just feels like something's pulling very gently on your nipple. As you start to work your way up, it's not as uncomfortable if you work from a low speed up to a high speed. Honestly, after about 2 minutes, my entire nipple goes numb. So since I'm in the 2nd week of pumping, the first week I didn't see any milk, none. I mean, it was dry, it was very dry milk. There was nothing liquid, nothing wet that was coming out of my nipples. Very discouraged. I just continued to take the hormone, which I had to take 4 times a day, and I believe maybe by the 3rd or 4th day of the hormone, the milk started to soften, and I could feel the milk softening in my nipples, in my areola. When I pump, the harder milk that would kind of try to force itself through the pores, that did start to come out. Now I'm in the process of learning training my body how to let the milk down. So when I pump, the milk comes to the surface. And this is something else that I also noticed. Your day-to-day activities and just lifestyle definitely play a big role into how much milk you're going to get. How much food you're eating definitely plays a big role. How much fluids you're intaking plays a big role into how much milk you'll produce. I just found out today that even stress, like my wife and I, we're in the middle of a move right now, so today was just like things was just everywhere. Yesterday I pumped and I had about like 15 or 16 drops of milk that came out, and it wasn't enough to actually drop down into the bottle, but the entire side of the breast pump, the inside of the flange, was covered in milk. So yesterday was just a pretty cool day. I ate good. I just relaxed. Me and my wife handled some business. It was a pretty typical day, and I got a pretty decent amount of milk from what I've been getting. And then today, I woke up. I didn't eat right away. I ate a little bit later in the day. We're in the middle of a move, so we were just moving around and handling business and just hustle and bustle. And when I pumped this morning before I ate, it's very dry. This is like my 6th pump of the day, and I'm starting to get, the milk is starting to surface. And honestly, I feel like it's because I ate, I'm at home, I'm settling down. Something else I learned today, when you're trying to get your milk to let down, breast massages and like warm showers, that also helps your milk to come down as well. So I just took a shower. I'm in my yoga room. I'm just chilling, trying to wind myself down because I feel like I've been pumping today, and I've been pumping and pumping and pumping, and I haven't really been getting what I want to see. So hopefully, you know, just my wind down routine will encourage more production of milk for tonight. Hopefully within the next week or two, I should start to be able to see the milk drop down into the bottle. I have been eating a lot of, I went to the stores, I got a lot of nuts, I got some granola. I'm not really a big oatmeal person. I can't make myself eat oatmeal every day or 5 times a week or however many times they say you're supposed to encourage your lactation. So I went, and there's a lot of different things that you can eat alternative wise opposed to oatmeal: rice, bread, wheats, grains, anything of that nature. I personally prefer like peanuts, almonds, cashews. I like the granola bars that have the almonds and the granola in it as well. So I eat those. I try to eat them twice a day. If not once in the morning and once at night. I try to eat like 2 at night before my last like 3 pumps. I try to incorporate some type of oat or something like that just to try to kind of up my milk supply a little bit more. Yeah, so I have to take the secondary hormone 4 times a day. And that's been going pretty well. I did have some fears in the beginning about whether or not I was going to be able to keep up on taking so many medications at a time, back to back. And honestly, the only thing on my mind doing this is just like I have to help feed the baby. Like I have to help feed the baby. So it really it's like clockwork. It pops up in my head like, hey, take your medicine, pump. I definitely am on a pump schedule. When I first started pumping, I was a little bit all over the place with the pumping. Like I didn't know when I should pump. I was trying to figure out how to maneuver around my day so I could be stationary long enough to pump enough. If you're not pumping enough, the more you pump, the more milk you'll supply. So being that I'm inducing a lactation, I want to pump as much as recommended. So I definitely try to pump at least between 6 and 8 times a day. Some days, if I don't have enough time to pump, or if I've been gone all day, sometimes I'll sit on the pump for 2 hours. It only runs in 30-minute increments, but I'll do 10 minutes on one boob, 10 minutes on the other, and I'll just interchange every 10 minutes for an hour or 2. Sometimes I'll take a break. Like when I start to feel like stress in my boob, like it's almost like my boob rejects it. Like I know when it's time to stop pumping. Like when I start to feel like tired in the chest, it's typically when I stop. But I'll go until I start feeling like discomfort or anything like that. My nipples start getting irritated. And that's just, I try not to do that every day, but the days that I can't be in the house all day, I definitely will sit up for a couple of hours and just interchange. So now I'm at 10 minutes. Well, it's been 11 minutes now. So now I'll be changing boobs, and I'm just gonna lubricate a little bit. Like, it is so uncomfortable. Okay, so there's like, when I say the slightest amount of little milk, like right here, that could have been from going in or coming out. But yeah, of course, I'm not getting too much milk yet. I've been looking into like different types of flanges, and the flange is what actually goes around the nipple. There's like different kinds of flanges that you can order, but this is like the standard one that I have right now. But I was just doing a little bit of research. They have some that are positioned a little bit different. You know, everybody's boobs, the breasts are going to be shaped different. Nipples are going to be, some are going to be bigger, some are going to be smaller. So I've been looking into different flanges that may help, that may be more fit to the type of breast that I have. Not that this one is not, but I just feel like sometimes when I'm pumping, I'm not getting the suction or traction that I would like to get. For the most part, I do, but now that I'm used to pumping, sometimes I feel like it could be doing a little bit more work. Not necessarily doing a little bit more work, but I feel like maybe the flange is just not for me. Maybe I could weigh my options and try out a couple of more different flanges and see if that helps, just with the expression of the milk. Again, this is my first time inducing lactation, so it's really just been a trial and error thing for me. A lot of research, a lot of reading, a lot of digging in doctors' notes and YouTube videos, and just online research on just different women and their experience with inducing lactation with the same process that I am. As of right now, it seems like everything is going as it should. I'm right on schedule. According to the protocol, I should start to be able to see a big increase in my milk supply in 4 weeks. That's like the general time like you want to start to see actual milk coming, after taking the hormone for at least 4 weeks. I'm a little bit impatient, so I've been trying to pump as much as possible and do as much as I can to stay on top of things, and really just trying to get that milk to come down. But because I'm only 2 weeks in, I'm not really that disappointed with the results I've been seeing. I believe that by week 4, I should be filling these bottles up. Some days I get more milk out of this breast. Some days I get more milk out of this breast. I still haven't really determined like what causes the milk difference in the boobs. I'm really not sure, because I pump both breasts about the same amount. It's just some days it's this one, some days it's this one. Some days I have like 5 or 6 droplets of milk come out of this boob, and some days I'll have like milk coming out of my pores in this boob. So it really just depends on the day. I try to keep it as balanced as possible. I don't want to over pump one boob more than I over pump the other, or not pump one boob as much as I'm pumping the other. I will say this is my more tender boob. Like, this is the boob that still gives me like some tenderness when I'm pumping. Like, I have to turn the pump down a little bit and kind of ease this one into the pump a little bit more than this one. Is like, it almost goes numb almost immediately as soon as it gets in the flange. But this one is a little bit more tender. I don't know the reason for that. It just is. And honestly, this is the boob that I see more milk come out of at once. Like, this boob, I'll get 2 or 3, maybe 4 drops But this one I've seen as much as 7 drops at once, just all over the pores. So I'm not sure if that has any significance or not. I'm just trying to make sure that I give you guys like full spectrum, like my experience, what I've been experiencing during this process. This morning also, cold temperatures. I just found out today that cold temperatures and pumping do not mix well. Cold this morning, I pulled my pump out to pump. I did my morning routine that I normally do. I lubricated up, sat up on my pillow, got in position, and it was just like extremely cold. My feet were cold. I personally don't like being cold at all, but just having your boobs out exposed and the air and the oil and the pump itself, it hurt. It hurt. My nipples were already like, no, leave me alone. And I was just like, you know what? I have to either go to a warmer room or go sit outside on the front porch. So yeah, I ended up coming in here in my yoga room. My yoga room is normally a little bit hotter. The insulation is really poor in this room, but it is typically the warmest spot in the house. So this has kind of been like my little setup for the last couple of days, getting comfortable pumping. So another thing that I do as well is hand express. And that also just helps the milk to come down. I'm trying to hide my nipple from you guys. But so like I have about like 4 drops that just rose to the surface. And hand expression is also help with the letdown of the milk. I was just reading up on that today, like even when the baby gets here, that is something that is encouraged with breastfeeding, is just massaging the boob, like massaging the pores, massaging your nipple, and that just is to encourage the milk to come down a lot easier so the baby doesn't have to force it, or I don't have to force it out with my hands. Hopefully in the next week or so, I won't have to hand express as much and I can just hook up to the pump and it'll start pouring out. Everything else has been great. We're approaching 19 weeks. We'll be 19 weeks the end of this week. The baby has loads of stuff already. We're going to be doing a baby haul here in the next couple of days. That'll be uploaded. And we're just going to show you guys all the stuff that we have gotten for Babygirl so far. We haven't told like the internet her name yet. And there's no like reason why. Like, we love her name. It's beautiful. We just are very private people. We just are taking things just very slow at our own pace. And as of right now, we're just enjoying spending time with her together, and enjoying all the love and support that we've been getting from everybody. The gender reveal was beautiful. I did post like a small little recap. I didn't get much footage from the gender reveal. I was all over the place. I was just anxious. I had my phone. I had no idea where my phone was. I was running around the house. Like, everybody wanted to take pictures and videos. And so I did not get as much footage as I would have liked to, but I did post a little video. But gender reveal was beautiful. We have our second ultrasound coming up in 2 weeks. We get to see Babygirl. Yeah, so I think that is all, you guys, that I have for you. I was gonna try to see if it was gonna try to show out for me today. But yeah, so I still do have like some hard milk that comes to the top of my pores, but it's like very far back in my areola. Like my actual nipples, the milk is very wet. It's very wet. It drips. It runs down my nipples. And the harder milk in the back of my areola, I'm not sure if that's like milk that's supposed to be getting ready to come down. Sometimes when I pump, I do see like the hard milk like fly out into the flange and just stick to the side of the flange, but like nothing to come out. So maybe the hard milk is coming out still, so I can produce the soft milk out of some of my pores in my areola. But yeah, guys, now I'm starting to get a little bit discomfort. there's my wife. Hey! She just woke up from her nap. So, that's about all I have for you guys. I am going to finish pumping. I have about 5 more minutes left. I'm going to finish pumping, and my wife just woke up from her nap, so I'm going to find her something to eat. See you guys later.